Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're pleased to welcome back Steve Mason from the WISE Project. Steve, good to see you again. How are you?
Nice to meet you again.
Yeah, so tell us, in case our viewers don't know, what is the WISE Project and what have you guys been working on lately with this?
So again, the WISE Project is water for irrigation, streams, and economy. There's no drinking water component to this. And in the simplest terms, we're looking at redoing the infrastructure for the agriculture here in the Rogue Valley. The Rogue Valley for this conversation is Little Butte and Bear Creek valleys. It's about 35,000 acres. So we're looking at redoing everything, conserving water, and taking advantage of the other resources we have here in the valley. Okay,
so certainly a worthy project, especially with all the drought and everything we've been seeing. So how, I imagine there's a lot of steps involved in this, yes, and a lot of things. Where do we stand on getting this up and running?
So a project of this type requires a lead agency, a federal agency, to do that. We have that Bureau of Reclamation, who actually is an owner of much of the infrastructure here in the project. And we are partway through, I want to say a third of the way through, the required feasibility and environmental review. So we're looking at where would the pipes go, what size pipes, what type of pipes, how much pressure. We're looking at all those issues. And then starting sometime later this fall, maybe in winter, we'll actually shift from more design-centric to the environmental components, what are the impacts and so forth.
Okay.
At the same time, we are going to be doing, or have completed, excuse me, a cost-benefit analysis just to look at what would, and we're using some very generalized cost numbers. We don't have any numbers really to base this on yet, but the generalized numbers we looked at and for the cost and then what the benefits would be, it does look like a very positive project, about 2.5 to 1 over the lifetime of the project, which we're estimating at about 50 years. So. Okay,
so where does the legislature fit in? Have they taken an active role in this project, or have we not reached that point yet?
We haven't reached that point yet. So at some point, the state's very involved in this project. They have provided funding for us to continue to move forward. And different agencies are interested in the project in different ways. Department of Agriculture, the ODA, has an interest in return flows and how those are managed. DEQ is interested in water quality, ODF&W and wildlife and species, and so forth. So they all have different interests, and the project hits all those interests differently. But as of right now, with the funding we have, we're moving forward, and we hope to be done with, like I said, those reports sometime in early February or so of 2017, which would take us to the next phase.
Okay, very good. We're going to take a quick break. We'll have much more with Steve in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Steve Mason from the WISE Project. So, Steve, we're talking about this method here. So, with the drought that we have going on right now, it's so important to conserve every resource that we have at our disposal, right?
Absolutely. And so the drought that we have is not so much rain, precipitation, it's the snowpack. This year, we've actually got a lot of rain in a couple events, and that actually made a big difference for us. If you go out to look at Emigrant this year, it was really impacted. We added about 15 feet of elevation during that February storm. So the idea with WISE, though, is with years like this, successive years like this, we've had 3 in a row now with very, very low snowpack. We need to be better shepherds of the water. So the simplest way to define WISE is we're trying to improve the water reliability and availability for irrigation and the streams.
Certainly it's something we can all benefit from.
Absolutely.
All right, so what about, you talked about all the government agencies.
Right.
I mean, you ran off quite a list. How do you juggle all these competing interests and these different agendas, if you will?
So the WISE Project, because it's water, everyone has some sort of interest in water, no matter who you are, whether you're an agency or an individual. WISE hits all those, and so we have different ways to get those groups involved. Usually it's staff members from the agencies participating in some of our subcommittees. We have an ag subcommittee, so those that are interested in that participate there. Those that are interested more in the in-stream, we can get them involved in that way, so that we're making sure that what we're doing meets with their requirements and regulations, as well as the goals and needs that we're trying to meet here for the local residents.
Okay, and where local residents, when can they chime in on this? When will they be able to kind of be heard?
So there's a couple ways. There's the mandated way they can do that. When you do a document such as a feasibility study or a NEPA document, that's the environmental review, there's mandated public comment periods. And those will be coming out. Those are noticed. They're in the papers. They're on the, sometimes on
Certainly on the
show
news,
like this. And so there'll be those opportunities. But there's also some other opportunities that will be coming up. Some of them will be invites to the subcommittees that we talked about, especially if you have a particular interest in one of those subcommittees. And then another is we're going to start having quarterly stakeholder meetings for people to come, participate, hear more what's going on. And those will start being announced in the paper as well.
Very good. Good to see you, Steve.
Great. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks very much. All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back.